Although the Count was still in Angers, I intended to go to my manor at La Flèche first. My castellan, Sir Lefric, had fine men-at-arms and archers. I had too many enemies to risk riding a strange land with just 2 young squires. Besides, I hoped that Lefric might give me more news about my son. He was never a good writer of letters. I knew little of his wife nor his son. He appeared to love Valliane, but I had never even met her, and I had a 2-year-old grandson on whom I had never laid eyes. The cog in which we travelled was commissioned by the Earl of Gloucester. It was a sturdy vessel, but I wished that I was aboard my own ship, Adela, captained by William of Kingston. I would make sure that when I returned to England with Henry we would travel on my cog. I would feel safer. The Loire was a torture to negotiate. There were many islands, and, although wide, the river twisted and turned. In the days of oars it would have been simpler. I now understood why some of William's journeys took far longer than I anticipated. We had to tack so often that the crew were exhausted furling and unfurling the sails. Even when we reached the Main, it was a tortuous journey to La Flèche. We had to travel on the Sarthe River before joining the Loire, which looped towards La Flèche. The journey did give me time to speak with the captain of the cog. The captain and I had words about my final destination. He had messages for the Count from the Empress. I had told him in no uncertain terms that he could deliver them on his way downstream. I did not wish to arrive at the court of Count Geoffrey like a beggar. I would arrive with squires, men-at-arms, and horses, furnished by my Angevin estate. La Flèche was a beautiful little place. I often wondered if it had been given to me because it was so pretty, or perhaps because it was close to the centre of power in Angers. Either way, I was grateful. Sir Lefric had not had the chance to be warned of our arrival, and I expected no ceremony. However, someone must have spied us as we travelled along the Main, for I saw Lefric and his men-at-arms as they awaited me on the quay. In my mind, I still saw Lefric, as I did John, as the 2 orphans who had come to serve me as squires. I saw John most days, but I had not seen Lefric for 4 years or more. I had appointed a youth, and now he was a man. He had aged. Then again, we all did. He had filled out and looked comfortable. Brian and Padraig, who flanked him, had both been my first men-at-arms, and, along with Sir Wulfric and Sir Edward, had served me the longest. Both were now grey. Their waistlines showed the good, prosperous, and peaceful life they now led. The smiles of all 3 had, however, not diminished. I was gratified that they were so pleased to see me. "An unexpected visit, Lord." Sir Lefric grasped my arm firmly. I nodded as I stepped from the cog and clasped his arm. "I come on the Empress's business." I turned and pointed to Gilles and Richard. "You know Gilles, and the other is Richard. Padraig and Brian, help them with our chests. We are here for some time." They nodded, and Brian said, "Good to see you, Lord."